The Hot Boys. The Hot Boys.
The Hot Boy, we
The
on
Hot
fire.
Boys. The Hot Boys.
Hey, you can't, bro. See, we differ in age a little bit.
A little bit.
We both seen them. We both seen them come up from pretty much start to finish. Dang near, not really finished because they ain't done. But we seen the full thing. Like I was younger, you were a little older. I idolized the Hot Boys growing up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I wanted to be Wayne before everybody wanted to be Wayne. The little bit of verses they was giving him back then, I wanted when me and my cousins, I did that. The wop 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 like you couldn't tell me. Like me and my old best friend, my boy George, rest in peace. We used to fight over the Wayne verse. We was the two youngsters, like but it's crazy to see this reunion. I'm happy.
It was much needed.
So much needed, man.
Like we talked the other day. I mean, everybody else came home. The only one we really seen that was making music when he came home was BG.
Yeah.
So I mean, like I said, he wasn't really doing much, but he do have a couple that's out there. And like we was talking about Juvie was, he was still relevant, but he pretty much laid low until him and Manny got back together, and Wayne stayed Wayne the whole time.
Wayne held the torch and ran with it, put everybody on he put the label on his back. Everybody had their differences and all that stuff. When it came to the breakup, we heard it in the music, we heard it in the interviews, we seen it online when the digital came about.
Yes, we did.
It was unfortunate. Like everybody already know. When it comes to stuff with these labels and money, it's money.
It's always that's what it boils down to.
Somebody think they supposed to get more than what they think.
You got the money. You got the media. You got probably people in house.
Yeah, people get in your ear. Everybody got separate crews.
So and so said this and such and such said that, and now. What chemistry y'all did have now is tension between the two, because it goes back to the prior conversation with the with the Young Thug and the Lord Durk. It's like, okay, how can I trust this one? You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be my man since day one. Now I got this one over here in my ear saying you saying this, you saying that. So that's what it all boils down to.
Yeah.
But aside all that, I'm glad to finally see them all together on one stage doing what they love to do.
Yeah, it felt real good. I can't lie. I was watching it the other night. I was I was reliving my childhood, man. Like I used to, y'all don't know, man. Y'all kids these days don't remember how music videos used to come out. They don't know about, waiting for video music box and waiting for MTV 2 and 106 and Pop.
106 and Pop.
Zeta's World, all that stuff.
Yep, yes sir.
Like they don't know having to try and make it home to make sure you catch that video. Like man.
I'm gonna bag it up for the old heads that used to stay up, as myself included, waiting for Friday night videos that used to come on Channel 4 back in the day. I had to shout that out because that's where I learned a lot of music from back in the day that I still listen to now. But again, like you said, a lot of people is not going to understand that. Now, here's a sensitive subject. Super Bowl. How do you feel about it? Do you feel, though, that they did justice by Kendrick, or you think it should have been Wayne?
It's hard because
it's very hard.
Why they chose Kendrick? Because it's Super Bowl, period.
Right.
For Super Bowl, period, you choose Kendrick because Kendrick had a crazy run, had a crazy year, like crazy year, even with the beef, crazy year. But it's in New Orleans, dog. That's my only part. It's like, I understand y'all gotta capitalize on the moment, but y'all should have gave it. It should have been. It's hard, man. It's hard. I get it. Being a businessman, I get it. But for the culture is where I'm looking at it at. Yeah. And somebody like Jay-Z having the the finger on the button for stuff like that, I would have thought it would have been Wayne.
I agree to that. I agree that to some degree because Kendrick was definitely he's been blazing. I feel like the beef,
crazy, bro.
That beef exploded him more than what he was already doing this year and what he has been. Because I mean, Kendrick came on in what 09 and been blazing since then.
Like I still remember,
and I mean, you know, I feel you. You know, it's in New Orleans. They should have did it. They should have gave it to Wayne.
I feel like they should have gave it to Wayne.
They should have gave it to Wayne.
I understand because it's the Super Bowl is a Super Bowl. Yes, you gonna get Kendrick, but we just had Kendrick for the last. Like Kendrick was in our face for the last year or so,
and he's going to continue to be there. He's not going nowhere no time soon.
It's cool to not give him the Super Bowl and give it like I was watching the Breakfast Club, and that was one thing Charlamagne kept saying. Like, if it's in New Orleans, Wayne and Friends. Yes. There's no way you don't do Wayne and Friends. We didn't even know the Hot Boy stuff was going to come.
Right. We didn't even know none of that.
We were just talking about Wayne and Friends. Wayne and Wayne had some of the biggest artists. He brung up the biggest artists. He brung up Wayne and Nicki. And let alone everybody else, if he get everybody else from Young Money, between Young Money, Cash Money, and all that, to be on the bill too.
Here's what I was thinking. You know, listening to that music, you know, in that era, and I still got it on a playlist to this day. Wouldn't it have been crazy? And I think we talked about this. Wouldn't it have been crazy? Even though you seen Wayne, you had Wayne and everybody else, wouldn't it have been crazy to see make them say,
yeah. I feel like that would have, like, if they was going to do it for New Orleans, I feel like
that would have been the one. That would have been the one.
Because, you know, over these years, it was more or less a thing everybody knows. You know, if you know, Master P and Birdman had beef.
Right.
So, you know, they kind of always stayed away from each other. They wasn't really going back and forth. They kind of just stayed out each other's way.
You stay in your corner, I stay in mine.
You know, both of them.
Leave it as that.
Both of them, you know, they did their thing in New Orleans. You know, Cash Money ended up being the bigger dog and had a longer run, but you know, Limit had their run. You feel me? They had their years when they was on top,
and when they was nobody touch them. Look, when they was on top, couldn't nobody touch them. Like when they hit them tanks running, they hit them tanks running.
It's crazy, and I think they only had one artist go back and forth really between both of them, sign wise. And the only reason I know this because you know my favorite artist is Currency, you know, from New Orleans, and Currency started out with No Limit back in the day.
He started out with No Limit
back in the day, and then he was technically the first artist on Young Money when Wayne started Young Money. If y'all don't know who Currency is, majority of y'all should. But look up Currency the Hospital, or just Currency now. You know, he was on that song Grown Man with Wayne, if you want to reference. But Currency got hits on hits all day. He's somebody that stayed true to the game, true to what he wanted. He was in a couple of groups, this, that, and the third, but he always had the vision that he wanted to be and do his own thing, have his own label, make his own music.
He was another one that man was a beast solo. But when you put that man on a track with somebody else,
the flow was
murdered it, man. He murdered it.
Something about these New Orleans artists, man, is, you know.
So it's something in the water, Dirty.
It's something in the water down south, man. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Something in the water.
You know, but in all, in the Super Bowl talk, man, I feel like they should have gave it to Wayne. I don't really care about all the Kendrick stuff. Kendrick had his time. That don't per se mean that he needed to have the Super Bowl nod.
Right.
Because he just did the Super Bowl. He didn't headline it.
Right. He didn't.
But he just did the Super Bowl, you know, as a guest appearance. And that's cool. Because all in all, if you want to say somebody that had an even bigger run than Kendrick this whole year or so, be Usher.
Yeah.
Even though I feel like Usher did a Super Bowl before, I'm pretty sure.
Right. He already did a Super Bowl. He did, if I'm not mistaken, he did the Super Bowl
Yeah, I
This
feel like
year. He did this year's Super Bowl. He did this year's Super Bowl.
what else Rihanna? Was it Usher?
Nah, it was Usher.
Dang.
Because that's when he came out with Keys, with Alicia Keys.
Oh yeah,
and she had the red dress on, and everybody was making the assumption of, oh, you know, look how they been, and try to get underneath for Swiss. And Swiss was like, you know, y'all looking at things too differently. Y'all need to look at two great artists. You know what I'm saying?
I do remember that. That was hilarious. That was a funny time.
That was. You know, he had, you know, Will I Am, Usher coming out there, sliding between the man's legs on the roller skates and everything. So
they was calling Usher a domestic terrorist in relationships, man.
You go see an Usher concert, you coming back single.
Yo.
Between Usher and Chris, man, look, they was breaking up relationships.
Hey, yo, oh God. Yo. So, you know, my bad, y'all. Usher already did it. he had his run, you know, because his Vegas shows. I forget how you say that word. Residency. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Kendrick been doing his thing. Don't get me wrong. I really feel like it should have been Wayne. Wayne and Friends, not just Wayne. Wayne and Friends.
I definitely agree with you. It should have been Wayne. If it wasn't going to be Wayne by himself, it should have been Wayne and Friends.
I wouldn't have gave it to Wayne by itself. Yes, Wayne is who he is.
Exactly.
But the majority of his catalog that we all love is mixtape music.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of stuff that really ain't Super Bowl friendly, I guess you would say. So that's why I would say Wayne and Friends, let alone than other just Wayne. But it is what it is, man. They made their choice. Super Bowl gonna be fire. You know, it is what it is, man.